Hey everyone, how's it going? I am iamxeracon and I am back once again. I've been playing Hades for a while now. I got it gifted to me on Steam for as a Christmas gift. So I've been playing that and it's a really good game. I definitely recommend it. If you have a PC or if you have a Nintendo Switch, I definitely would recommend picking it up. I'm hoping that the devs would port it to Xbox and PlayStation later on because I think it's a game that people deserve to play. Like I think it's a game that's worth playing. So like if you have the two systems, either of the systems I mentioned, get it. If not, I really hope that it'll be ported. That but because I've been playing Hades, it made me think about how much I enjoy the type of story that games like that have where it's not a big cinematic story. It's not a game that that just like says like boom, we're gonna make this feel like a movie experience to you. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Like I do believe that a there is a place for those type of games. Like I do like I enjoy the Arkham games. Like those are that type of cinematic uh game. But I sort of like in if I were to like compile a list of top 10 games, like a good portion of them would be uh, games that where like the story is not. I mean, like the story is there, but like it's not a huge. It's not like as hugely valued. Where it's more so like the gameplay and how you can learn about the story and the background events through the gameplay itself. So like as I mentioned, like Hades, like you are just like dropped right into the game. There's like no backstory. There's no like, uh, there's nothing given to you. Like you are just like dropped straight into the game right away. And so you learn about the story. You learn about the characters. You learn about everything through playing the game. Like even when you die, um, it doesn't feel like a big penalty because sure you lose up all the power ups that you had because it's a roguelike, but because you get the chance to talk to characters, you get to understand them, you get to interact with them, you learn more about everything going on through dying because you get to talk to more characters, you get to learn more about them, you get to open up relationships, and you're even rewarded for doing so because you are able to unlock certain power ups, you're able to get certain abilities. Like these things you're able to unlock because of the fact that you've invested into it. So I think that that's really like the core thing that I like about games like this because the game rewards you for being invested in the story or at least invested in the world itself. Um, because like say like again like you play a game like I said like say Batman Arkham City, sure, you progress through the game normally and as you like do certain things the game requires you to like have certain uh a lot like it requires you to have certain tools in order to like progress further, and so you'll have to actually advance the story in order to get those tools to do like this and that. How like so like that's one way I can see it happening. But it just doesn't feel the same because like instead of like like I said before, like you're being forced. I mean, like you're being forced to do it. This is you choosing to do it. You're choosing to talk to the characters. You're choosing to invest it. So like I think that having that choice is what makes it important because it's players' agency, where they get to choose about what happens. And then like another game that to talk about, like like this is another games I've actually been playing as well is Metroid Prime. Well, Metroid Prime 3, but within the entirety of the games, like you can play through the game like and there's like nothing that you necessarily need to do to understand the story. Like you can go through top to game. Like sure, they show you like certain events, like hey, yeah, this is what's going on right now. But like you can understand like why certain things happen if you scan through the logs. Like if you like, I really didn't understand like why the like before like going into like playing the game. Like I knew that the pirates were working with Dark Samus, but I didn't know why. But then reading through some of the logs, I understood what was going on and why that was happening. And like I said, you can play through the game without even like scanning through the logs and stuff, but you learn about that by playing the game, scan the logs, and so like that's you investing in the story by like digging up that information. And I think that by learning through it through through a log, through a journal, through notes and stuff like that. In this case scenario, I think that's more effective than having like an expository like cutscenes. Like, here's what happens. This event happened, and that's what caused Stark Samus and the space pirates to work together and stuff. It's like, no, like I don't think that sort of thing would work at all for a game like this, because the Metroid Prime trilogy, and I mean, like, it's not gonna be a trilogy anymore once 4 comes out, but I think that game is those games are mainly purely based on gameplay. And in fact, the Metroid series as a whole is based on gameplay. Like, story is just a part of it. And that's what I love mostly about games that focus on the gameplay rather than the story, because you're playing the game. Like, it's not a movie, it's a game. So like I appreciate stuff like that because it helps to reward the player. Like, it's another thing to reward the player. Like, those who are invested in it can learn about it. Like, sure, if you don't want to learn more about the story, that's fine. But like, if you really want to, like, the game lets you work for that. And even with Dark Souls, like, you can play through the game without learning anything about like the story whatsoever. I mean, people will be confused, but like, look at like what you have. Like, go through like the items that you have. Go through your inventory. There's certainly going to be stuff there that will help you understand more about the world and the story. Like, seriously, like like you, like, for example, playing Dark Souls 3. I beat Dark Souls 3. It wasn't until actually like reading through the description of certain items that I found that I understood, like, oh wow, like, you would be wondering, like, all right, who's the main villain of this game? Like, you go through the entire game and like you could like understand like, all right, yeah, I know I'm supposed to link the fire, but like, why is the world so messed up? Like, why is this here? Why is that there? Why is this woman dragon hybrid like locked in a tower? Like, what's the deal with this character? It's like, oh, all this stuff happened because of this guy. Like, this guy who whose guts I hated because he was so darn difficult. Because I don't parry. But it was so difficult because of him. Like, he's the reason why like this whole world is messed up. Like, it's so rewarding, like, when you actually understand what's going on. Like, again, like I said, investing yourself the into the world, it feels more rewarding to like learn about that rather than just like being spoon fed. Like, and here's the thing I think with games, like, normally, or at least in a lot of rank classes I've been in, and then also, like, what people say is like to show rather than tell, which I think that in a novel, it that sort of thing works. I mean, I definitely think that there is a time and place for uh telling versus showing, but I think that in video games, it's sort of like in that sort of logic sort of reverses, where you should tell rather than show. I mean, again, this is like a case by case scenario, but like, I guess sort of like in my ideal game, a case of telling versus showing. Like, showing in the case of video games would be showing the cutscenes, showing like the characters doing this and that, showing how they are personally, rather than telling you, say, like the notes, like saying, for example, like I said, uh, the space pirates did this on such and such a day. Here's more information. That's the end of our log. But so, like, I think that in that sense you learn about the characters, but you learn through it from a different perspective, because not only it would say the character you're playing as be seeing this information for the first time, you would be seeing this information for the first time. So you and the character would both be learning about this thing going on, because you found this information and you are learning from it. So I think that that also is a pretty nice way for you to sort of be in the shoes of the character that you're playing. So again, like, I definitely think that there is a place for cinematic game cinematic games. Like, even, like, older games, like Final Fantasy IV, that is definitely among my top 10 games. And one of the reasons for that is the story. Like, I definitely think it's there. But again, I think another reason is that is that not depending on the story can help you with the gameplay as well. Like, Breath of the Wild, the story is bare bones. Like the story is so mediocre that it's that if this game was rated just for the story itself, it would not have won Game of the Year. I can guarantee you that because the story is just so meh and bland. But the gameplay is what people play for. I mean, like there's so much crazy stuff you can do in there. Like I saw a while ago about like someone did another new trick or something like that. Like just like the physics and stuff. Like that is what I guess like the game rewards you for is the gameplay. So like I'm more of a gameplay person. So like games like that entice me rather than just like the story itself because if the gameplay is good, I can stick with it. If the gameplay is bad, I don't care how good the story is. I will stop. I'll drop it. Like Tokyo Mirage Sessions. That is the most weeb cliche game I could think of. But because the gameplay was unique, I stuck with it. Like if it wasn't for the gameplay being pretty interesting, I would have dropped that game by like chapter 4, if not sooner. But I stuck with it. Now, Secret of Mana, that's a game that people say is great and they love it, and that's fine. But I do not like the gameplay of that game at all. So like I wanted to stick with it, but I didn't feel rewarded in the gameplay, so I just had to drop that game. And I never played it again since then. But I just wanted to argue that I like this I like this approach that games are taking where they are emphasizing on the gameplay over the story, and they reward you for with the story through the gameplay. And then and again, like with Stardew Valley, like you learn more about the characters, you learn more about like I guess the town itself through interaction with the characters. Like you have to invest in those characters in order to learn more about them. You have to work on that as well. So I think that that is great rather than just saying, okay, here is so and so and so. Like you even have to like talk to characters and they'll tell you about like other characters, what they like, what they don't like. If you look and you look around, like there are certain items. I think there are a couple different things that can tell you about. I think there were like a couple books that oh yeah there were notes that tell you about like certain characters also as well. So through the gameplay, you are rewarded with more information rather than just being explicitly told, yeah, this and this and this. So like I think that's another great game. Also, pick up Stardew Valley. Like it's a good game. You should definitely play it. And they also now, well, for PC they have for PC they have split screen multiplayer, but they will bring that to console soon enough. So you know what? Get it then. I'm hoping we're getting crossplay, and that would be awesome. Because I would like to play with people on consoles as well. Because I want to play more Stardew Valley with people. So yeah, that's just a little thing there I wanted to put out. But I think I've said enough though. Like this video is definitely longer than I would like it to be. But yeah, so let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Do you appreciate stories, or rather, cinematic style stories more than gameplay style stories? Let me know. And then also, feel free to follow me or to join my Discord server. I'll leave that in the description and stay tuned for more videos. So until next time, everyone, I am Xeracon signing off. Have a good one.